And we're back for our second game of the series, potentially the final game of the night. Rising Stars trailing Team DK 1-0 here in this best of three. And yeah, don't worry, guys, you didn't miss the draft. That was actually my bad. The game started whenever we got the game going. I actually wasn't in a broadcaster slot, and so we were going to have a remake because of that. The teams went ahead and drafted out since they had already loaded in. So we won't waste any time. I'll go ahead and bring on, once again, as always, Ben Merlini Wu to break down what we see in terms of our compositions, the analysis, the insight, and, of course, telling us why Midas is the only item that really matters in this game. But before he does that, I do want to point out Rising Stars obviously stream sniping because Siler has picked the Lone Druid, which, I mean, why else would you pick? Why wouldn't you pick him? He can have two Midases at the same time, Merlini. Two of them. It's madness.
I heard you. It is madness, but it's going to win them the game. And we see Mushi on the Shadow Shaman. This is something that we saw, I believe, last week, and he just puts out incredible amounts of pressure middle. I didn't actually see if Pugna was banned out, but considering Rising Stars does pick that first, like almost every game, I assume that it was banned out, as well as Lich. So DK doing their homework, and I think that Rasa is going to have a pretty easy time. It's versus Lone Druid. It's not that bad, but he'll still be able to get a lot of farm, and we just saw how much work Shadow Shaman did in disabling the bear, and I don't remember who was playing the bear the other day, but his bear died like 5 or 6 times that game, and it had a Radiance too.
Yep, I definitely remember that. I'm like you, though. Can't remember exactly who, but anyway, the horn blows. Let's see who's going to be handling who on each side. In mid, we're going to have Siler bringing the Lone Druid with his Immortal Cauldron hanging off of his back. He'll be going head-to-head with Mushi on the Shadow Shaman from DK, as mentioned. Marana going to be played by King J this time around. Burning certainly did well on that hero last time. We'll have QQQ running the Visage with the Bad Rider, handled by CTY. He's down in the safe lane this time around. And the Rubik going to be played by XDD. On the other side of the river, we got the Shadow Shaman, as mentioned, played by Mushi. Abaddon going to be joining us this time, and we talked a bit about that. Just have not seen a whole lot of Abaddon of late, so fun to see that hero, especially in conjunction with this hero. Timbersaw, which will be played by Ice. Viper will be played by Burning, taking a cue from CTY, realizing, you know what, it's a pretty good hero when he gets a little bit of farm, as we saw earlier. And MMY going to be jungling up the CM.
They need Magic Stick as soon as possible. Abaddon already picked one up. He's just shields all of the napalm stacks off Burning, and he can just CS away freely. And I don't actually know what is with the Bat Rider dual lane. I think it's like okay, but if you want like if you want to farm with a hero, you don't really pick Bat Rider, and you can just put him in the jungle and just put like a solo safe lane, and I think that'd be okay too. So I don't particularly know what's up with this trend. I don't think it's that effective though.
I agree. The thing is, I mean, Bat got hit with the nerf stick a little bit. His base damage was nerfed and so on. But he can still go into the jungle, and if left unfettered, will still come out with Tranquil Boots and a Hand of Midas. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, though he could. Tranquil Boots and a Blink Dagger at around 9 minutes. So even though his jungle efficiency was brought down a little bit, it's not by much. He still can get a lot done there. And I'm a little curious, like you, to see why teams, when they do get the Bat, aren't utilizing him in that role anymore.
Yeah, he just needs his Blink Dagger. He's actually not that dominant in the dueling. He's like, okay, see Lana pick up a Illusion Rune on bottom. But CTY, he may be able to get his Blink Dagger out pretty fast. 7-2 on last is nothing fantastic. Looks like Lone Druid is doing very, very well in middle. 11-6 compared to Mushi 6-3, so almost double in both aspects. King J not having a terrible time on top either, 5-0. And I mean, if King J can solo the off lane, they can definitely have like a easy hero solo the safe lane while he gets more out of the jungle. I think it just speeds up farm for your whole entire team. We all know how much teams love farm nowadays.
Looked like XDD was ready to take a shot there. Had his first point in telekinesis, just came out throughout an auto attack with no follow-up, though. Very difficult to kill a hero whenever there's an Abaddon around. Of course, they
can't harass Burning, though. Even with 2 heroes, they can't harass them just because Abaddon's there to back them up, and they have a corrosive skin. They can't trade hits. They should just either smoke gank or just pull, but they're already way behind in this early game right now, though. We see the tree being cut down, and they're not going to get it killed before 3, so the Sentry Ward already did his job. It's blocked at 0, 30, 1, 2, and 3, so that's all you need from one Sentry Ward. We see the bottle come out from Mushi. These supports really have to get something accomplished, though. I still don't know why they're trying to harass Burning, because Visage all requires like a lot of burst, and Abaddon's actually really good at taking out napalm stacks as well as preventing burst.
Speaking of Burning, sitting on 7 CS, is not having the easiest time. Started out okay, but has been pretty effectively zoned out, so trading a little bit of HP and, as you said, a little bit of questionable harass, basically just to try and make life hard on him.
3.5 minute arcane boost. That's pretty good. pretty darn good.
Yeah, not too shabby. And we've seen Ice 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 play some very good Timbersaw in the past. So having him on this hero, and again, in that hero in particular, in conjunction with the Abaddon, that can be such a devastating combo if they get ahead even a little bit. If they take 1 or 2 early engagements, get a couple of kills, get a little bit ahead in experience, they can just start to feel freaking immortal, especially once Abaddon hits level 6 and has borrowed time to back his boy up. So this is a team from DK, especially with the Viper, that is snowball heavy. This is a lineup that Rising Stars is going to have to be very, very careful against.
I like their lineup a lot more than last game. Last game, I thought it was a little bit greedy with the Shadow Fiend, especially considering it was like versus a push strategy. This game, it just seems a lot more well-rounded. They're doing okay in all 3 lanes. Mushi is actually the one who's suffering the most, not getting that much CS in his lane, but Timbersaw doing very well on bottom, and Viper, Abaddon just picking up experience. They have like almost 10 magic stick charges apiece, just trying to harass CTY a little bit. CTY, pretty close to his Blink Dagger, though. Already brutes plus 1,000 and 1,100 gold. Or 1,100. 1,100 would be Blink Dagger.
The Crystal Maiden is yet been relatively inactive. She is doing a little bit of pulling. She is doing a little bit of jungling as well. That's kind of my big question now whenever I look at DK's lineup. They're going to want to...
Elanum on bottom.
Yep, Elanum in some trouble. Going to use the Aphotic Shield, though. And even though it was nerfed a smidgen, not nerfed enough to really make that a threatening situation. And again, that's why you're just not seeing that much aggression coming out of this 3-on-2. But... yeah, I mean, MMY is the hero I really want to see get active here. He's been spending a lot of time in the back, and just given that DK has the stability in this bottom lane, I feel like they could be putting a lot more pressure onto this Lone Druid. I'm a little curious as to why Sylar has been completely ignored so far. Lone Druid, as good as a hero can be in most solo situations, with 2 disables on Mushi and a roaming CM that is yet to be spotted, this is something that I think they need to be getting a lot more mileage out of.
He's level 4 now, though, so they could potentially kill him very, very soon. No smoke on MMY. Maybe he's just chilling there. They have wards up, so this is the time. We may see a first blood here very, very soon. They ping on him. He's going to have to like get some sort of like sick wards around, though, because he's going to be up the hill.
MMY actually shows himself throwing out the Nova. They're going to try to
maybe just pushing.
Yep.
I don't know. I think the MMI thought he was up the hill. Ooh, we see a smoke. There they go. MMY actually did not get smoked, so it's going to be a solo smoke. No room for him on a 6-minute. King J going to be the target. He has level 1 leap, 682 HP. Mushi pinging behind the tower. Ice has to push out this lane, but there's no creep support. There's like 2 treants. He has to go like right now if he wants to go.
And King J is also level 6, so he's going to have Moonlight Shadow. If he gets in trouble, yeah, he's just going to leap away. And he didn't have the mana for it. He was trying to bottle up for it. And First Blood instead is going to end up going to Ice Ice Ice. So nice timing there. They end up making it work. They might, they're going to get some damage done to the tower at the very least. Mushi was trapped there by a creep momentarily, but as
very good rotation by Mushi, though. This is the thing. You have level 6, you take down, you get a kill, get a tower. That's so good.
Yep, there's our first Midas on Sylar. All right, Sylar, prove me right, brother. Get 2. No reason why. If you're going to get 1 Midas on the Druids, you may as well get 2. It only makes sense.
And an arrow comes out. Is someone going to get hit? Mushi.
Nope. And Tier 1 is going to end up dropping. Mushi going to take that last hit. So, you know what? He's 100 gold for Midas now.
Yeah, that's just so effective, though. Like, the best kind of ganks are the ones where you can actually get a tower out of it. I see a lot of ganks that
Lasso on bottom. Lanham.
On
In some trouble. Aphotic Shield bought him some time. Here comes the Chakram. Can they get the return kill? XDD. Nope. There's the Soul Assumption on the burning, but in the end, the rotation from Ice 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 just a little bit too late. Did good damage with the Chakram. 1 for 1. They end up getting the Mirana, and they get the Abaddon in exchange. 7.5 minutes in. It's been a relatively quiet game, but now this laning phase beginning to break down, and I think we're going to start to see a lot more aggression out of DK. They certainly have a lineup that's good at it.
Yeah, and you can tell, like, even though the score's 1-1, the kills were just completely different. One's on offlane Miranda, like one of their late game heroes, and they got a tower out of it. The other one, Rising Stars kills, was just on a solo Abaddon, and they needed to use Lasso as well as Moonlight Shadow for that. So, like, Rising Stars are getting kills, but not important ones. We see a smoke behind tower, QQQ, looks like he's going to be the target, and smoke pop, here it goes.
Yep, QQQ trying to run. Will there be a TP? Doesn't look like. Sorry, brother. No man left behind is not the motto of Rising Stars. Left behind, tower going to drop as well. And here in mid, they're actually not going to get anything out of that. King J's in no position to try and push in response, and of course Sylar just farming away, but MMY there to have served for a counter push if needed. Mushi has wards up. They might push through here, and really we see him pinging it out. There's no reason for them to stop. Absolutely no reason at all.
2 arcane boots, skipping the Midas. 2 kills, 2 towers.
Yep.
DK
Imagine that.
Getting work done.
Imagine that. You don't get a Midas up on every hero, and suddenly you have items like Arcane Boots to actually get things done.
Yeah, and Sylar is going to be farming away. He really has to get his Radiance like really fast. Or, I don't know, he may have watched the last game and be like, well, Radiance is useless for Rasa because he'll just shackle it and they'll die multiple times.
Yep.
He may go for a different build this game, or they might just play it differently and he can just split push instead of actually fight. CTY does have his Blink Dagger, but they lasso a CM. It's like, what do you do? CM died.
Yep, she'll be back up in 20 seconds as well. Lanham shows his face and just wanders through some Firefly damage, because you know what? The hell with it. He's Abaddon. Abaddon gives no dams. And heard the arrow. That's going to connect on Ice. Do they have the follow-up? They don't, and this is what I was talking about. A Aphotic Shield on Timbersaw. He only has 2 points in reactive armor, but still plenty. The wards are down. Bear's going to come out. And, yep, there's that Shackle. We saw this last time around. The Shadow's going to be there. Are they going to try to engage out? Yep, Mushi going to be caught out. Telekinesis back, and they're going to reinitiate. Do they have the damage? Sylar down to about half. King J not in much better shape. The ulti from Mirana keeping them alive. That could have gone very badly if they didn't auto-cloak whenever they stopped attacking.
Lana was a little bit slow to Aphotic Shield as well as Mist Coil, but Mushi was a little bit out of position too. They got a little bit too greedy for that bear kill, just getting a little bit too far away. They need a medallion up early too. Looks like the Abaddon has 530 gold. Looks like Crystal Maiden has a Hand of Midas recipe. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, Defense of the Midas rolls on. Rising Stars actually takes the kill lead in that exchange. Sylar's going to be spotted by a Invis Ruined Ice. We'll see. Is he going to go for it? Doesn't have a lot of mana. He sure is. Drops the Chakram and Timber Chains through. Bear's going to be resummoned. There's the arrow. King J there. And, oh, they got the root as well. Sylar hanging around just in range, and Ice will be able to Timber Chain away. And just how annoying, the biggest annoyance of playing against a Timbersaw in any situation is just how damn hard he is to kill. He always seems to find a way out of trouble.
That was actually a very untimely route. Had the route not gone on during the Potom Sun and like maybe a second and a half after, he wouldn't have been able to get away. So that's some bad luck routage by a Lone Druid, actually. And there's a medallion up on Rasta. They are ready to maybe take out Roshan very, very soon. I like this pickup from Shadow Shaman.
Taking a look at the early gold graphs, we can see DK has secured themselves yet another lead. Has been cut down a bit. It was in the range of plus 5,000, but Rising Star is able to stop the bleeding, if not completely cauterize the wound. The experience is actually in favor of Rising Star. So another close game.
That's the Midas, man.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. I'm still waiting on the second Midas. The Sylar did decide to get a set of Trank boots, which is obviously a mistake. And they are pinging around. They are hanging around the Roche pit. Rubik picks up some smoke, and yep, they're just going to drop the wards to go right for it. There's a big old chicken Roshan, and with that Midas up, this is going to drop quick. If they're going to challenge it, it's got to be soon.
Mushi. I don't know why he's not medallioning it.
There it is. Heard it go off that time. If they're going to challenge this, they got to go now. And
yeah,
Ice.
Where are the sentries from DK? If they invis in right now, they're just like absolutely screwed. So I think they just assume they have sentries. This is why he's not using it. But this Roshan is dropping really fast, though. They have like 10 seconds, maybe to less than 10 seconds. There's a Moonlight Shadow.
And Mushi going to grab a target. See, here's Mushi grabbed by CTY. He will be blown up. CTY not in the best of shape. In the meantime, Timbersaw is there. And DK losing the fight, but Ice with that Aegis willing to turn around. Manages to pick off the Rubik. Lanham still up and fighting. And Timber Chain, they actually disjointed by the Sacred Arrow. Ice will manage to make it away. King J dodges the Chakram. Ice kept alive in large part by that Aphotic Shield that has the Aegis popped off by one last Soul Assumption. We saw Lanham actually have Borrowed Time proc. Now they're going to try to pursue this out. There's another arrow, and it will connect. That should be enough to buy them the time they want. Timber Chain will be on the mark. Can they catch up with anyone? Midas up on Burning, so our second is in. Let's see if 3.5 remains the appropriate over-under for this match. But Ice not going to be able to find anyone. Sylar, the last one left standing. And, yeah, not even going to try to pursue it out. The Sacred Arrow does miss, so it looks like both teams ready to go to their respective corners for a breather.
Ice was so close to killing the Priest of the Moon there. He got arrowed during the Timber Chain. He missed one Timber Chain, and then Abaddon got arrowed there at the end. So series of unfortunate events for him. But DK still did get the Aegis as well as the Roshan kill. So not all in all, not too bad of a fight for them. Mushi needs a little bit more HP though. He's sitting at 796 HP. He has some armor and arcane boots, but he just melts. If he just gets hit lassoed, if he gets telekinesed, or just focused down by soul assumption, lineup has to be like really on top of his game. But all in all, it would be just much better for him to get bracer, casual point booster like he just picked up. So I think it's he definitely needs more survivability. Dies way too early in these fights.
We can see the gold still remains very much in favor of DK, the experience hovering near that 0 line, so the little lead that Rattlesnake had, or excuse me, Rising Stars had, given back away. They are going to go ahead and move under cover of smoke through the Radiant side secret shop. There's 2 targets to the north, and they're going to be able to catch him. It is going to be Ice, one of the more difficult targets on the map to bring down. CTY with the Blink Dagger ready. Will spot him out, and there's the last. They're going to drag him right back down to half health, and they should be able to finish him up pretty simply, and they do. As Rubik shows off that, he knows how to Timber Chain too. A little bit of zip lining in the Dota world at the very least. But, wow, they're actually not going to push off of that. I thought for sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're not either. And that was a very effective smoking. They could easily force the issue right now, force Mushi to TP back before he drops his wards on a T2. But now since they're taking so long, I don't exactly know what they're waiting for. Siler looks like he's farming up, about to use his another Midas. Maybe they're just buying some more time. I guess Siler's not there, so they can't push very fast, but they should capitalize on it. Timbercell's a very important hero right now. Level 11, a lot of farm. Looking at his net worth, he is actually number 4 in net worth. Just fell behind Viper after that, and Shadow Shaman. So see Siler pressuring up mid, is able to return his bear in time. Mushi does TP away.
I'm a little, obviously we were both surprised they didn't push top. I don't think they needed Siler. Why not just let Siler push mid and send 4 top? It's a 5-on-4 situation. They can't possibly account for everyone effectively. Instead, they get nothing out of it. Now look at DK. DK with Ice back up, now on the warpath. He's making very good progress towards his Bloodstone. He'll have that item up very, very soon. And I feel like that's just a big missed opportunity. And again, really what has plagued Rising Stars is their inability to capitalize on situations like that.
He's jungling right now with 5 heroes missing on the map. Yeah. He just fireflies and just walks straight into the jungle. CTY's mid-game decision-making skills are just questionable. He farmed his blink very fast. He is one of the best CSers, but just can't get picked off at these pretty important times. Now they're able to push the tower right now. They can drop the ward bomb if they need to, and Rising Stars overall, the decision-making is a little bit lacking. I think Siler, he does the right thing most of the time, just split pushes when no one is around, but they're actually backing out right now. But for the most part, their mid game is just extremely weak. Looking at the gold graph, it was fairly even for the first 6 minutes, but boom, just instantly starts dropping in DK Saber. That was as soon as Shadow Shaman started rotating top, and he hit level 6. And they're just not very good at reacting or taking the aggression and making opponents react to them. So I think they're very, very strong early game though.
Siler continues to just farm away. Looks like he will be getting a Radiance. That's what one would think. He's got about 3,000 gold set away so far. And DK, in the meantime, willing to go take this tower. A little surprised he didn't stick with it before. Trying to bait out a little bit of movement out of XDD and King J, but doesn't look like they're going to take the bait instead. DK
There's
ready.
Also huge overlappage of wards. I was wondering why CTY didn't spot that gank out. It's because they didn't have any vision, because these wards just cover the exact same area. I would recommend one right here and the one right here, so that at least they can see up this hill. Because they just walked. They didn't even smoke. They just walked in this area and just killed CTY. No problem.
Up at top, tier 1 being brought down by Siler. Down it goes. They're going to try to trade tower for tower. King J's here in mid, but not going to have the most push power in the world. They'll certainly have time to react to this. The Bloodstone was completed on the Timber Saw in the meantime, so they end up trading 1 for 1. Yep, of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? And this is kind of weird. Both teams they're playing aggressive, but they're playing defensive at the same time. And we see DK really didn't even make too much of an effort to try to respond to it.
Yeah, Batrider has his blink as well as a 4-staff. Lone Druid with 4,400 gold. There's another Midas coming out. Bottom with the 18-minute Midas.
Of course. So the over-under of 3.5 remains legit. We might have to revise it upward to 4.5 if we get another one out this game as well. And CTY manages to escape as DK does respond in time to keep the top tier 2 in decent fighting shape. But, yeah, it's a very quiet game. We're at 18 and a half minutes in, only 12 kills on the board. Rising Stars, once again, and this is just indicative. This seems to always be the case, even in games when they're behind. They've got the kill lead. Are they going to
kill this bear? Oh, they were close.
They've got the kill lead, but unable to do much with it. DK just feels like they're completely in control of setting the pace of this game once again.
Mushi looking for a kill in mid. His team is behind him. It is going to be on 5-on-4, though, because Timbersaw is up top with his Bloodstone. He is TPing, though.
And up. Lanham actually caught by the Sacred Arrow, and they're going to go ahead and telekinesis Burning and lasso him back. This is a big get for Rising Stars. Mechs through it. Can they bring him down fast enough? No, they can't. They're going to reinitiate. CTY sit for the high ground. XDD cleaned up. They could not bring down Burning. Again, just so hard to engage into a lineup like this with that Viper, with the mechanism, with the survivability granted to you by heroes like Abaddon, who was initially caught by the Sacred Arrow. Big missed opportunity there. Rising Stars was given a gift and just unable to capitalize. The Radiance is going to be done on the Lone Druid just short of 20 minutes in, but I don't think it's going to matter. That bear has just not felt like a threat, and I don't know that the Magic Burn is going to feel like that much more of a threat either.
Yeah, Burning is just way too tanky. This is why I say Viper's a really underrated hero. They initiate him with 5 heroes there, and with a lasso, with Abaddon in like a 5-second arrow, and they still can't take him down. They weren't even that close to taking him down, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, after Mech, he was at like half HP. So, with Lanham there to just shield and constantly heal him, oops, we see Burning in a little bit of trouble. Yep. Oh, he might die here. Just let him talk about how tanky he is.
Nope, able to make it away. Now Mushi re-engages. Lanham has his Borrowed Time proc. And what did he get? Did he get Borrowed Time? Nope, he got Miscoil. But in the meantime, Ice moves back in, gets the kill. He's tanky as hell with 11 charges on his Bloodstone. Tempered Chain going to allow him to pursue out Sylar. And Flame Break not going to be on the mark. Chakram slows him down. Here comes the arrow. And beautifully shot arrow by King J. Anticipating the Timber Chain path. And it will... Oh, there's the deny! No, actually, never mind. He committed suicide using the Bloodstone. But in the meantime... The bear trying to grab Burning, and there, finally, they managed to get the kill, but Mushi in conjunction with MMY, using the freezing field as he hung out in the jungle. Now Ice back up, chasing down Sylar, tanky as he is. Earn charge and a Temper Chain makes that another big win, going the way of DK. And DK, they just seem to always come out ahead, always managing to get the best of these trades. It's been this way throughout the entire evening for Rising Stars. They're able to take trades. It just seems like they're always on the slight losing end. And yeah, the gold graph indicates 7,500, 4,000. Just another win going DK's way. Mushi's going to move into the Roche pit. Roche is back up, and we'll see if they want to take it. They still got that medallion.
People talk about how Freezing feels like not that good of an ultimate, but we just saw how much damage it just caused on that fight. He like stood right here and just Freezing Field like in this big area over here, and they don't even have vision of him. Like Arrow was already used too, so like sure, all 5 heroes have a way to stop it. We have Root, we have Sacred Arrow, we have Visage Burst, Flame Break, Lasso, Telekinesis, the list goes on and on. But like he was still able to challenge for most of the duration and just kill almost 3 heroes with that alone. And they actually picked up Sylar at the very end too. So that is a pretty team fight changing ultimate. And if you're playing Crystal Mason, you should definitely skill it up. But the problem is you have to be in the fog most of the time, or you have to wait until most of your spells are on cooldown. But a good player like MMI will find that opportunity.
Going to have a brief pause. We'll take this opportunity at 22 minutes in to once again thank each and every one of you for being a part of the broadcast, be you joining us by Twitch or via the in-game client. Have seen some people saying, hey, you know, the in-game client, the Dota ticket, their sound is funny, we're losing frames or losing lag. Unfortunately, there is absolutely nothing that we could do about that. That's all server side. It has nothing to do with our connection in the client, nothing to do with any of that. It's just a product of sending our signal all the way out to Beijing and back. And Perfect World servers, of course, still a work in progress as well. But nonetheless, want to thank each and every one of you, be it morning, evening, or afternoon, for being a part of today's broadcast. We could potentially have another game coming up if Rising Stars is able to turn this deficit around. But all indications, especially after that Roshan, would seem to indicate that DK is very likely to walk away 2-0 victors here and improve their standing in the Eastern Division. And if that's the case, just make sure you set your calendar for tomorrow. We'll be right back at 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 3 a.m. Central European Time, and 9 a.m. if you happen to be one of our Chinese brothers and sisters. We'll have 3 more matches on the way. And, more or less, by the end of play tomorrow, we're going to have a very clear picture of who the front runners are here in the Eastern Division. So make sure you catch all of the action heading your way again, kicking off at 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time tomorrow. Back to this match, though, Merlini.
Burning. Qualify as your Chinese brother?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I say yes, if that makes me like a person who's going to get yelled at on the internet for having.
You're going to get yelled at either way.
You see, that's the problem. That's why I say that, and then you ask me that question, I divert it by simply not answering it. But
nice try.
Yeah, I do what I can. I'll just talk about Midases some more. Speaking of Midases, you notice the team without Midases for the most part is actually doing better.
They have 2. It's 2 and 2.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. I forgot Crystal Maiden picked one up. I'm a dirty liar. Midases always win. Don't listen to AC. But
we already see a Force Staff up on MMY. He actually was building a mech earlier. I saw a mech in his stash, but I think he finally realized that he was picking up early. And there's like 5 creeps here. I'm surprised they're backing off the farm right now, but I think that I don't actually know why they did that. There's not really a good reason. They're just playing passively. There's not really that much pressure on them, but I think they could have forced that, especially with the Aegis. They may not come across another good opportunity in the next 4 minutes, but we will see. And the Rising Stars charging down the top lane. Gold deficit 7,500 in favor of DK.
Absolutely. DK very much in charge of their fate. And we've been seeing a lot of this really since patch day. Just teams, for whatever reason, that are used to playing aggressive and taking control of their fate at this stage of the game are beginning to play more passive. And yes, the Hand of Midas plays into that, I'm sure. But I like that Rising Stars is doing what they're doing now. They say, okay, for whatever reason, DK's not comfortable. We're behind. How about, well, as soon as I open my big fat trap, of course they go, nope, never mind, LOL, time to farm.
They need to kill this bear. If Mushi gets a blink, he has a blink. Why did he go on the bear? I guess he didn't know where the team was. But if he tries to split push with the bear, all they need to do is just Hex Shackle and just kill it like 1 or 2 times, and Asylum won't be able to split push, and then Rising Stars is in a really difficult position. They can't split push out lanes, they can't really foul on 5, and then they can't really gank either. So, if DK can just pick out the bear 1 or 2 times, Rising Stars will be pretty much out of options. Another thing they can do, Rising Stars, just delay another 3 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 minutes. Wait, is it 3? 3 minutes. 3 minutes until the Aegis is down, and then try and take a fight there. Maybe with a lucky arrow or a really good lasso initiate, they can take a fight. I don't really know who they go on though. Mushi is the best target, but he has blink, so he should be staying in the far back. Abaddon has borrowed time, don't go on him. Timbersaw has Bloodstone as well as Aegis, don't go on him. We saw what happened when they go on Viper, and it seems like a really low priority kill too. So they don't really have any good how do they win a team fight?
Yep.
What's their ideal way?
I feel like they're lacking in sustained damage. I mean, they have what they have. They have, the
Radiance,
Druid.
man. Just sit the bear.
Yeah, but that's the thing is I just don't think DK cares. DK just has a bunch of heroes that just don't care about Radiance.
Did I see Shadowblade on CTY?
I'm not sure.
Yes, I did. That is just what I saw. That item's not yellow and doesn't look like a hand. What is he doing?
Yeah, the attack speed bonus, obviously, and I'm curious, Shadowblade on Bat after. I mean, at least it came after Force Staff.
Here he goes. We might see the first kill with the Shadowblade Bat Rider.
And CTY looking for a target. Spots Mushi.
Did not
Team's
see
coming.
The fire?
Oh, they're gonna want to talk about overkill. Oh wow, actually Force Staffed away. Mushi telekinesis. Can they keep him alive? They can. There's borrowed time as Lanham soaks up a lot of the damage priority. Mushi kept alive once again by a miscoil. And tell me again why Abaddon's not picked more often. Seems like he does okay. That's
he's
twice.
He's really good versus Potom. He's really good versus Visage as well as Bat. He's just good versus Rising Stars lineup. Yeah. So I mean, DK I think did a fantastic job on this draft. Lanham just fantastic positioning here too. Did they not see the fire though? It was like right here, and he was right here. He literally walked up to him with Firefly and Invis. Does Shadowblade not show your fire?
I have no idea. I'm like you. To me, it should have been pretty obvious.
Yeah, I don't know. Trees are falling down invisibly.
It's like in Jurassic Park, whenever they put the goat out, you just see trees falling down in the distance, behind, out of vision. There's something big moving, and then they eat the goat. Hopefully someone gets that. It's just like it in the movie, okay? Tree's just...
I'm just going to let you hang out and dry. They only have like 30 seconds left on the Aegis, so this is like a fairly risky push for them. If they can get a tower, I think they're just going to back off. If they can get a tower for free, rather. Burning also going for a mass HP build, which is not bad too. Some people get Scepter, I think is the better build because it also gives you HP, but Sage is not bad at all versus the Bear just because you can disarm it, can't do anything, but his damage isn't really from the right clicks, it's from the Radiance right now, so it's like, meh.
Let's see. DK still continuing to just keep up the slow siege. We see CTY is going to go ahead and give the end around. He's got the Shadow
Aegis is
Blade.
about to expire though in like 10 seconds, so this is really bad.
Here we go. Lanham
DK
takes the Sacred Arrow and down to about half health. The Visage Familiar stun him out a little bit. And here we go. CTY manages to grab Ice, drug back. He will be kept alive momentarily. Timber Chase back out of trouble once again. And they're going to have to pursue him all the way out. Lanham has Borrowed Time procced and is force-staffed ahead. Here comes Mushi, and they manage to get the Hex off on the Bear. Can they bring the Bear down? They can. Ice is still up and running by some miracle. Reactive armor plus a Photic Shield. Legitimate. Burning not so lucky, though, as he is finally cleaned up. Mirana getting that last kill, and they're going to go ahead and track down the CM and Ice. So 3-0, the current exchange. The timing, there's a good route. I don't think it would have mattered, though. Chances are Lenham would have ran into the Sacred Arrow. But yeah, Rising Stars engineering a nice little...
Mushi, why didn't you drop your wards, man? Why do you have wards off cooldown? Your team just took a big team fight. I don't understand.
And CTY's not done. That fight went on long enough. He's going to have Lasso back up in about 14 seconds, keeping an eye on him. And Mushi does go ahead and show off the Blink Dagger and get himself away. In the meantime, Siler just now split pushing, and he's not far from an Assault Cuirass.
Yeah, he is really farmed right now, and they have not been doing a good job of killing the Bear. Last time we saw Mushi play it, they died 5 or 6 times. I think it was only like 1, maybe 2 times this game, and he is just trucking this tower. SNY build on Viper is not good at disabling things like Bear, disabling things like Potom. He really does need that Scepter, and not a big fan of SNY in.
They managed to get a couple of familiars. Actually, there was a resummon. Check that. 14-11. Rising Stars putting a dent in this lead that Burning and company had accumulated to this point. Pretty sizable one, too. Cutting it down from around 8,500 gold to south of 5,000 gold. So, and the experience has actually turned around quite impressively as well. Finally back in their favor for the first time since in about 10 minutes, really.
Yeah, DK was just slow to push. I agree with you that they should have pushed like way up here when like they were just all there with like 3 or 4 minutes left to go in the Aegis. They pushed, the Aegis ran out like seconds before the lasso, like 2 seconds before the lasso, and Rising Stars knew that. DK apparently did not, so they just had to be a little bit smarter when they push and actually use the ultimate on Rasta. That is way more important.
Chakram stolen by Rubik, very handy dandy spell to have. They should have a chance to get this tower. I was going to say they have Glyph. And we'll see how much of a defense they want to try to mount here. It's going to be a big one.
CTY, they need sentries too for CTY, actually. They have a Dust, but I don't think Dust is enough.
DK's not totally vacating yet, trying to bait out an overextension out of Rising Stars. Not taking the bait so far. That tower is just outside of deny range at 158 HP. And Timber looking for an opening. Will he go for it? Chakram thrown out. Burning's there. Another Chakram thrown out. They caught 3 that time. Tower does end up dropping and is actually denied by the Lone Druid. So they lose the map control, but they prevent a little bit of gold going the way of DK.
Lone Druid, 1370 gold. AC completed. Radiance completed. He is a big mother effing bear. They're just smoking. Double smoke. They actually used to, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but they are out looking for blood. It's a pretty good time because they don't actually know when the Roshan is going to respawn. We know that it respawns in about 1.5 minutes, but it could have been 1.5 minutes ago.
Exactly. Speaking of Roche, like you said, 1.5 minutes. And, yep, not even that. 1 minute, 10 seconds, according to our nice little ticker on the side. Siler leading the way. And I was watching Lanham's build. I wanted to see what he had. He had a point booster and he had a bit booster and a Staff of Wizardry. And I was curious what direction he was going to go. But yep, we're going to have the Rod of Aoi.
That item is a little bit underrated. It's really good versus Lincoln Sphere. It's the okay versus Bat, actually, because after he lassos, if he can't actually travel anywhere, then he's pretty useless. And it gives him a lot of HP. This tower is just melting.
That Bear taking a lot of damage there. Here comes CTY. He's got the Lincoln's buff up. And Chakram thrown out to counter it. And Lanham actually got netted down. There's going to be a flame break that bursts them all backwards a bit. Rising Stars giving as good as they're getting right now. Taking down...
Roshan is going to respawn any second now. I think both teams know that it's going to be a point of very hot contest. Rising Stars can scout it out with the Birds as well as Bat Rider and the Bear. There's no reason they should not have vision of it. DK can use Chakram if they need to, too. So this is really important, Roshan. I think this is the third one, too. So this is a big with the cheese. There it goes. Big boy has respawned.
Roche back up. His third time joining us this evening, or at least in this game. DK, pretty sure they've spotted it by now, obviously. Rising Stars knows, thanks to Visage's familiars. I didn't see, did they actually pop in and check, or did they just run by it?
I don't know. I think DK pinged on it, and I think both teams pinged on it. Well, Visage clearly knows because we see it right now.
Right, but hang on. We're going to have a lasso grabbing out MMY. Very easy kill there. It's going to make things a little bit more wide open if they want to take a shot at Roshan now. Crystal Maiden, not the highest priority target, but at this stage of the game, being able to pick off anyone and put them down for 40 seconds, quite a big deal. Burning just continuing to farm away now, has 1,800 gold to his name, and that the SMY Treads build, as you said, I mean, he's tough to kill, but he is not really having as big an influence on these fights as I think he would like.
Yeah, he needs Scepter. Like, Mech Scepter is like the go-to build for a reason. The 12-second cooldown is just a huge upgrade over 50 seconds right now. That's 4 times as many Viper Strikes. Mm-hmm. And let's see, Siler was trying to split push top. They need to split push too. Timbersaw has a BOT. He needs to split push so that they can get out more lanes. If they can force like one hero to go top, like for example, Priestess of the Moon, then they can go in and take Roshan. But without that, then it's like just kind of a stalemate until then. Both teams are afraid of getting picked off right now. Ice does have buyback as well as BOTs, and he should be the one pushing out lanes. Looks like he's pushing out top right now. And eventually, if this holds, Rising Stars is going to be forced to go here to defend. And if DK spots that out, they immediately just do Roshan.
CTY has lasso off cooldown. Thought he might go ahead and check under cover of Shadowblade. There's a smoke on the side of DK. Siler's going to walk up into a world of trouble. Frostbitten down. Here comes the Chakram. Force Staff's going to get him into the low ground. Freezing Field did some damage. The Bear's still in trouble. MMY actually picked off on the low ground. CTY in some trouble, and will be able to force staff himself up. No! Ward's got him from the high ground. Just as he had dropped down, the Wards...
Burning got the Bear, too.
Yep, at the absolute maximum length of their range, those Wards took a shot up and over and managed to bring him down. So Bat's down for 38 seconds. Does he have buyback? He does not. Roshan, very open now. Mushi
did
have to...
I don't know if they're still strong enough to take it, though. This is pretty risky. They don't have Wards up right now, and... the Bear is really, really strong at this point. They don't have Viper Strike up. It's up in a few seconds. Oh, they actually helped them out with the medallion.
Yep. Well, we saw the Sacred Arrow actually stun Roshan. Here we go. Chakram back out. Shiva's shown off for the first time, and Rubik's down. Burning up there and stunned by the Visage Familiars, but Ice so tanky, he just doesn't care. Eating the, nice shackle onto the Bear. Gonna get him one more time. Bear down to half health. They're spending everything they have to take it down, and they will get it. Meching through it, now on the other side of it, and Rising Stars left with no option but to try and run. Not so lucky as the Frostbite seals the fate of Visage. And that might be our big turning point in this game. Roche.
The big turning point of the fight was when Bat Rider blinked in and he got hexed immediately by Mushi. That was like the one spell that changed around the fight completely.
Yep. DK, happy to go take a free Roshan now. Just look at the work that Rising Stars had done and how unfortunate it is. They worked so hard to cut that deficit of nearly 10,000 gold down to damn near zero. But one engagement gives away cheese, gives away an Aegis, gives away a lot of momentum and a lot of gold. The experience is going against them again, and we are going to have a brief pause as Mushi seems to have disconnected from the game for one reason or another. Still too close to call. Rising Stars showing time and time again they have the composition, and they are doing a much better job of handling the pressure that comes with the late stages of the mid-game and on into the late game. And still, anyone's match, but DK definitely in a place where they can set the tone from here on out.
Yeah, with the cheese now. I mean, Ice is actually the top farmer for DK and no Midas. And he's 2,700 gold ahead of Viper, who does have a Midas. And Viper's 1 and 3. Ice is just having a huge impact this game. His Timbersaw is definitely ban worthy, in my opinion. 7, 3, and 4. BOTs, Bloodstone, Shivas, Cloak, as well as 1,500 gold. And he can be the gem bearer, too. So Mirana's ultimate, not really a problem anymore. And he's just so much of a nuisance during all these fights. Like, he just almost instantly killed the Rubik by himself just using his very short cooldown spells, and he's getting a little bit out of control.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. As soon as you see a Timbersaw picked up by DK, it's a guarantee it's going to be Ice. And how many times have we seen him do this, too? It's not as if he took the early game by storm. It's not as if he went berserk. Not like he even built a Midas or anything like that. He just slowly but surely farmed his way into relevancy, and then every chance he's had since then to have an impact, he's been able to do so. Like you said, sitting at 7 and 3, that's not, outstanding. I mean, it's good. It's tops on the board.
When your team's down by 2 kills, that's
right.
Astounding.
Yeah, it really is. So, I mean, again, just one of those quiet players. And he's not taking a lot of chances either. I mean, we've seen him once or twice get out there, but you can kind of do that with a Timbersaw because of the efficacy of Timber Chain to get you out of trouble. But it's just one of those heroes that he just gets. And I definitely agree. If you play against DK, that Timbersaw is worth an early ban because DK will first pick that Timbersaw many, many times in a row.
Yeah, or at least just have a better solution for him. They don't have any silences for him or like a really good lockdown for him. Like none of the stuns are that long, and I mean barring Murana Arrow, but they have Abaddon for that. So I think that DK drafted pretty well. I think that Burning is actually not playing particularly well this game, mostly because of the SNY over the Scepter, but also just I don't know, just seeming to be underfarmed. With a Midas, you're supposed to have more net worth than Timbersaw right now, but he has the same amount of deaths, just way far behind in gold right now.
Yeah, King Jay's Mirana really has not felt all that impactful. We've seen, I mean, even the
Midas,
even her ultimates have not really felt all that impactful. And it's one of those things that comes with time and experience. And of course, there's something to say about DK's ability to minimize the impact of a hero like that, given how aggressive she tends to play. But at the same time, Rising Stars, I feel like, is plagued in many situations with kind of fighting against themselves. I mean, we saw that in Game 1. They had an ultra-aggressive team, and then they go out and build 4 Midases. Like, that just doesn't make sense. Like, if you're going to build 4 Midases, build a team that can sustain that and that can play super defensive, play tower defense, and 4 protect 1 and what have you and all that. And this lineup, now with the Lone Druid in pretty good shape, I mean, when you look at the pure net worth, he is on top by leaps and bounds, sitting at 20,000 net worth in comparison to the 15.6 net worth of the next highest, being the Timbersaw. He's in shape, but again, the Midas on the Mirana, she's got a Lincoln's Treads and what else? 2,500 gold? That's great, but she's just not pouring out that much damage, only hitting for 114 auto attack damage. That's only 20 more than the Visage, who has a Scepter. And, the Bad Rider, same thing. I mean, Bat's hitting in the exact same category in terms of right-click damage. Their magic damage simply isn't that impressive. They've got Soul Assumption, they've got Fade Bolt for a little bit, and if you're dumb enough to stand in Firefly damage, then, yeah, of course you've got that. But compare that to DK, who has the entire spammable skill set of Crystal Maiden, of Viper, and of Timbersaw in particular, to say nothing of the amount of lockdown they have, with Frostbite coming out from the Crystal Maiden, with Chakram and its slow coming out from Timber, and of course with the potential for a Ward Trap, a Hex, and a Shackles coming off of the Shadow Shaman. So right now, Rising Stars is fighting a match where they just don't have quite as much lockdown as DK does, and they still lack the damage.
Yeah, they have a lot of pure deeps on the Timbersaw too. I think as much as we've been ragging on some of the members of Rising Stars as well as DK, I think that Siler has been playing fantastically this game. He out-CS Bushi very heavily in middle. He got a Midas pretty early, and he did what you're supposed to do with it, which is farm. He split push, he got mid tower,
right.
He got top tower, he farmed very, very fast. I mean, he's been split pushing with his bear, but he's been pretty careful about it too. He hasn't let it die unnecessarily most of the time, and like if DK chooses to focus him a lot and his team runs away, really what can Siler do about that? So I think he's been playing pretty well. He has a casual cloak on him. He is by and large our huge net worth winner right now, 20,000 as opposed to 15,500 on the Timbersaw. So about 5,000 ahead of him. So Siler just, MVP for Rising Stars this game, at least thus far.
Well, I think this kind of makes the point. We've joked all night about, the amount of Midases we've seen. There's a reason why up until recently, Midas usually appeared under certain circumstances. This is the way it makes sense to do it. Imagine if Siler had his Midas up, went the exact same build, and was where he is right now in terms of his inventory, okay? But instead, imagine that the Mirana had that 1,900 gold to put towards a Manta style right now, and she could have that up right now. She could have a Yasha in her inventory and on her way to a completed Manta style to go with that Lincoln Sphere and her treads. Think about how much different Rising Stars would feel at that point, because they actually have a little bit more sustained DPS. They actually have a carry who's beginning to feel like a carry. Like right now, she could one-shot buy her Yasha if she wanted to, but the problem with that is she has buyback now. She won't if she does that. And we're getting to a stage in the game coming up on 40 minutes now where you can't afford to just run around willy-nilly without buyback, especially when you're down to only one outer tier tower remaining. You're just going to lose racks if you don't account for that with a highly mobile lineup like DK and, well, more to the point, not necessarily highly mobile, but just the ability to push and melt creep waves as fast as they can. So, and this is kind of what I was talking about in terms of sometimes they seem to fight against themselves. If they had just gone a more typical build on Mirana, as opposed to getting a Midas and just let the Lone Druid be the only hero on their team with a Midas, I feel like this game might have a different feeling.
Yeah, I agree with you. We were kind of exhausted topics to talk about while Mushi has been disconnected. So let's talk about Midas.
All right, let's have some real talk here. Real talk. You think this is a trend that's here to stay, or you think this is one of those flash-in-the-pan things that we see for a week or two, and then finally teams just realize, oh, they're going to build 4 Midases? Fine. We're just going to buy a gem early D-Ward, put them in the dark, and buy mid-game items that actually make sense. You think it's going to be that, or do you think it's going to be, oh, this is broken now, therefore Ice Frog must nerf, and until he does, it'll be nothing but Midases and Necro books every game?
It's definitely not going to be the latter, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be the former either. I think it's just going to, pop up for a few days and then just go back, not necessarily into obscurity. I still think we may see some heroes get Midases that traditionally aren't thought of as Midas heroes. For example, Viper, for example, Crystal Maiden. But it's just going to be 2 to 3 maybe max a game, with an average of maybe a little less than 1.5, maybe 1.3 Midas a game. That's my prediction. Mm-hmm. I think that people now actually explore that as an option, as opposed to mass wards, mass smoke, mass sentry wards, and tranquil boots. That's pretty much what you did before with mass TP scrolls on supports. But now it's
right.
oh, well, maybe I can get a Midas now, and if you can get a 4-staff later, and then another item like a Ghost Scepter after that, then the Midas really pays off. But people are realizing that reliable gold is super, super important in Dota, and gold management is just as important on a support as a carry hero, and Midas actually helps you manage your gold much, much better than you usually can. So
yep.
I think that people are actually finally starting to realize the pros. And Midas wasn't changed at all in the patch.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so and everything else is slightly minor. Neutral creeps give less, so I guess technically Midas. I don't know whether you think it gives more because the creeps give less now, or I don't know. There's some weird interactions there, but overall Midas didn't really get bopped. The whole game really pretty much changed at 6.79, and people could have just done this in the last patch or the patch before. It's just people are actually experimenting now, thinking outside the box. Hey, let's get Midas and farm up on heroes that could actually might do okay with items like CM with BKB. That would own this game.
Absolutely.
It'd be cool. It's cool. It's a cool trend.
I'm down with it. I'm down with it for now. I don't know that if we had 2 straight weeks of this, I would be so ahead of it. So down.
As long as the games are less than 40 minutes and there's action, then I don't really care what items you get.
Yeah.
But it's.
I think what's going to end up happening is it's going to back off from this Russia Midas kind of a thing where it's okay, we're on a support and we know a Midas is a good item for us. Therefore, we're going to save all of our money for all time until we get a Midas, and then we're going to use the Midas to farm the things we could have had in the first place. I don't think it's going to be that. What I think you'll start seeing is if a Crystal Maiden is picked up and she starts roaming early and manages to get 3 kills and a good start and get 1,000 gold put away, then you'll see a Midas come out on a hero like that's non-typical. I don't think you're going to see teams coming in at least a few weeks from now after things settle down a little bit. I don't think you'll see nearly as many approaches as we're seeing tonight, where it literally is you could just tell from the moment the game starts of, okay, I'm going to build X, Y, and Z, but X, Y, and Z don't matter nearly as much as my Midas. That comes first. That's kind of the impression I've gotten tonight. And we'll see, though. Yeah. Like you said, it is fun. And, this is something we talked about the day the patch came out, just how much fun it is to watch professional teams and guys who do this for a living just begin to play around with a game that there's always that point, and especially out, leading up to a big tournament like the International where the game had been stable for so long, not a whole lot of changes. The players and the teams just really kind of settle into their routine with it. And we're seeing all these teams begin to break away from that. And it's a lot of fun to watch, even if it does involve mini Midas in many situations.
Yeah, and we're seeing like more Lincoln Spheres too. King J has one this game. I've seen some other ones gotten here and there. We see Atos out on Launheim, and it's not like either team is like in a big enough lead so that they can just go random items for the fun of it, right? These are like serious items. This is a pretty fairly serious game too. DK doesn't have a secure berth into the playoffs, so like these teams are actually they think that it's a very good item in this situation, which is cool. Like seeing Atos on any hero, it's awesome. Instead of like a 4-staff, which is like what like 99% of Aberons would have gotten before the patch. So variety is cool. I encourage it. I like seeing it, and it leads to cool things besides mass Midas farming. Oh my gosh, like farming for 30 minutes with Midas, that just makes me want to gouge my eyes out when I see that.
Totally agree, and hopefully Mushi can get back in. There's going to come a point, and I'm not the lead admin here, but there is going to come a point where if he's gone for a certain amount of time, we either have to resume the game or penalize DK in one way or another, which would certainly be a shame. We don't want to see anything go that way. But
you can just penalize them by forbidding them to get Midas in their next games.
Never again.
They would just drop out of the tournament. They'd just be like, you can't win like that.
No Necrobook either. That's like the death penalty. Like if you
There's no Necrobook this game. How surprising is that?
Yeah, I know, right? But hopefully we'll be back underway in a moment, guys. Once again, want to thank you all and take a minute to go ahead and plug the folks who keep the lights on around here. Of course, Kingston HyperX. It is the HyperX D2L after all. Make sure you give them a look, guys. I mean, they make such phenomenal hardware. I've been using HyperX for years now, even before I was ever associated with the D2L or with EG. So it was a real kind of a coming of age. It was a coming of age story for AC to be running a tournament sponsored by Kingston and, of course, Monster Energy. And I'm sipping on a Monster Energy Rehab right now, as it is getting rather late here on the West Coast, as Sesh cackles off cam. And hey, I'm tempted to tell you to turn the camera on. Here, turn the camera on. Flip it to me, Sesh. I just want to show. Up. I just want to show that no exaggeration here. There you go. See, look, Monster Energy Rehab. If you haven't had the green Monster Energy Rehabs, you're missing out for real. Okay, now get my face off of there. I don't like it whenever I'm there. Thank you very much. But yeah, the green Monster Energy Rehabs are legit, man. I have one pretty much every night right about this time. During the Eastern Division. Then, of course, Razor and Astro, so thanks to them. And thanks to all of our ticket holders in game. And obviously, I am filling a little bit of space with plugs because Mushi is gone. And I think we've beaten into the ground every thought we could possibly have about the freaking hand of Midas.
And this game in general. Yep. It's still relatively close, I suppose. Rising Stars actually won that top 5, which I didn't expect them to. Well, actually, that's not true. I expected them to after the Aegis expired. Yep. But DK just needs to take a smart fight. They had a pretty big lead, and they just like kind of tossed it at that one tower, which is just not smart. Like, why is their in-game director like, hey, we should make something happen before this Aegis expires? And then it's like, oh, Aegis is about to expire. La-di-da, I'm just gonna walk around and let's just get initiated on and be put in a really bad spot. So I've been seeing this like issue a lot with teams. They just don't take smart fights. I think one team that's really good at doing it was one of the teams that we casted. The other, I don't remember when it was. Maybe last week. LGD. Maybe. Oh, yeah. No, IG. I don't know. One of those teams that are like really good at just taking smart fights whenever they need to. And like DK, they were pretty good except that one fight. But that was a big blunder though. No, not pushing with an Aegis. That's just not good, especially when Siler is as farmed as he is. So
I'm pretty sure it's LGD you're referring to. And the thing about LGD when you watch them is they do they're a little one-dimensional in what they do, but they do the two things that they do so well that they still manage to just beat everyone. They know how to 5-man like nobody's business, and they're extremely good at playing defensive and playing tower defense, and like you said, just dodging fights until they feel like the moment is right. And
can you tell me a cool story, AC? I'm out of stuff to talk about.
Cool story, bro. I shot my wad. I shot my wad with my storytime stories during G1 last year. Whenever we had all that downtime, like I told.
Wow, that was last year. You have to have some stories in between last year and now.
Dude, I just like it put me on the spot and stuff. It's tough. I could tell you a little bit about my cross country trip. Flew back home during the downtime between the international and now, And me and the girlfriend decided, we were going to take a trip out. And the reason we were taking the trip was whenever I moved out here to San Francisco, I left my car in Logan, West Virginia, which is where I grew up and where I was living.
You shouldn't tell people you're from West Virginia.
Hey, man, don't be hating on West Virginia, Don. West Virginia is my home. Country roads. If you pick on West Virginia too much, I will break into country roads. And that's a story I could actually tell at DreamHack. Me and Boss DH at the wee hours with many ounces of alcohol in our system, singing country roads at the top of our lungs as we watch the Swedish sun rise at 2 a.m. because that's what happens in Sweden because the sun doesn't play by the rules there. But anyway, we took a cross-country trip, and I could tell a couple of stories about that place. I'm going to tell you one that is just bizarre and really kind of funny and kind of sad at the same time. So we went through Yellowstone National Park. We were cutting down, and we were spending some time. We drove through Wyoming, obviously, if we went through Yellowstone and so on and so forth. And I got low on gas. We were talking and not really paying a lot of attention, and had to pull off just at the first place I could. And we were in the middle of flipping nowhere, man. There was no light pollution. I seriously thought we might die.
I'm rubbing off on you. You're saying flipping now.
Exactly. But so anyway, we pull off at this place, and it's obvious this is not a normal place. For lack of a better way to put it, it was kind of like this little city that was built on the outskirts of an Indian reservation. And I'm not going to get into all that and the politics of it, but Indian reservations, especially in very poor rural areas, are really, really sad. And we'll leave it at that. But I pull off at this gas station, and it wasn't actually a gas station. It was called the Depot, which is just a thing that's different about depending on where you are and so on. We pull off and we get ready. I pump my gas. I go in to pay. And it was one of the most hilarious and unbelievably sad things I've ever seen in my life. No joke, 2 pieces of printer paper, 2, in 12-point font is a list of names. Had to have been, 100 of them. 100 names that are spread across 2 printed out pages of paper. And the title above those names is Banned from the Depot for Violence and Panhandling. I have never, ever heard those words collide in a sentence that way. And to think that this poor Indian reservation, obviously having some squalor issues, banned from the Depot for violence and panhandling. It's the kind of thing you don't really see unless you take a cross-country trip. And the name of the place was Lame Deer. Lame Deer. And, much love to the residents of Lame Deer. Justice for Hannah, which is kind of an inside joke because there were signs everywhere there over some kind of political uprising that was taking place one way or the other. That and the wall drug. The wall drug in South Dakota was insane. We drove through South Dakota, across Montana and all that. I swear to you, whenever you start, when you go into South Dakota initially, Ben, the moment you're getting ready to cross into South Dakota, moving from east to west, you start seeing signs for a place called Wall Drug. It is literally 400 miles of those signs until you get to the Wall Drug. And it's just by the time you get there, there's no way you can not stop. It's impossible. That if you've driven the entire length of South Dakota and seen nothing but advertisements for Wall Drug and the fact that they have a 40-foot dinosaur replica, which, how could you not stop anyway? But, there's some interesting places in the United States. So just a couple little tidbits from my trip across the country. Now your turn. Tell me a story.
I immediately regret my decision.
Immediately regret your decision?
Well, I don't know. I'm out of topics to talk about. I'm stuck. Help.
It looks like there's I just got word from Connie. It sounds like there's some kind of connection issue and a solution is being figured out at the moment. Very sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, it's out of our hands, and both teams being very patient, which is good. We certainly don't want this game to end as a forfeit or any kind of a walkover due to something like connection is. Do what? Yep. It's going to be 4v5 or a walkover if we can't get Mushi back. And we did obviously have another disconnection. Lanham dropped as well. Tell you what, instead of us just jawing and just doing nothing but feeling dead air, you want to put some music up, Connie, and then we can figure this out and bring it back. That way, yeah, I think I have no problem talking. I just worry that I'm going to be accused of not letting Merlini talk. And since Merlini doesn't want to talk, then I need to shut up. So. Anyway, guys, thanks again so very, very much for being a part of the broadcast. This is Game 2, potentially our last game of the night, delayed due to connection issues. Before we bring up the music and throw it back to the front until a resolution is reached, Merlini, my friend, go ahead and plug yourself at least a little bit for the fine folks at home.
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter at
Merlini Dota. You can also follow me on Facebook and YouTube, all slash Merlini Dota. I gear my content more towards like somewhat advanced players, like intermediate to advanced, not people that are just starting off. Although it's nice if you come and join along too. You can also find me streaming at twitch.tv slash Merlini Dota.
There you go. Make sure you check him out. Again, Merlini Dota. You can put that into Google and probably find every link you need. You can also find me online in a variety of places. Imagine that. You can find me on Twitter. It's @AC, at AYESEE. On Twitch, it's twitch.tv/ACTV. In fact, it's ACTV across the board on Facebook, on YouTube, and all that jazz. So we're going to continue to hopefully find some kind of a solution for DK versus Rising Stars as DK continues to try and close this series out. Rising Stars needing 2 games in a row might take a walkover if we can't get Mushi back in the game. Are we good to go to throw it to the front screen here, Conrad? All right, looks like we are. All right, guys, stick with us. We'll be right back as soon as everything's straightened out. Again, I'm AC. That's Merlini. Game 2 will resume as soon as we get everything in line. Be right back. It's okay. We're back, and that's right. Connie with the quick fingers ready to get us back underway. They literally surprised all of us. We were all kind of trying to check things out, and I just hear the countdown going. So thanks to everyone for their patience. Mushi back in. DK versus Rising Stars. They trail in kills, but the momentum is definitely theirs. We can see they do maintain a slight gold lead. Not much of one, though, hovering right around 2,500. The experience is actually very close to the 0 line, but after taking that last Rosham, very much the cheese on Ice 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 makes him feel invincible, and Burning, of course, with 2 lives now. This is going to be a very scary next 8 minutes for Rising Stars.
Wait, is the gold really just like flat for that period of time? I don't know what's going on.
The timer doesn't pause. The timer doesn't pause. So that's
Okay.
all. That's all. The like what you're seeing in that flatness is just how is all the time.
Why doesn't it go by game time instead of whatchamacallit time? I don't know. Anyways, well, looks like DK are going with the T2 push, or T2 push again. This time, though, they have the Aegis, they have the cheese. It won't expire on them. They should win. I don't know. This is going to be a risky fight. I think it's all on CTY or the Bottom to make a really good initiation, but more on CTY.
MKB done. Oh, wow. They actually
Burning?
catch Burning. His HS still alive for the moment. Now we're going to have Ice 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 brought back with Disruption. CTY is there. Going to go ahead and lasso him back. Not going to get a chance to use the cheese. Will be able to get back up sometime in the next 40 seconds. Does have boots of travel. In the meantime, they pick the bear off. So the bear gone, the tower now gone. Burning does maintain his Aegis. And Ice. Again, down for about 30 seconds. They did take the tower. Now, at this point, they're going to feel free to go ahead, fall back, heal up, and wait on the Timbersaw. That's actually probably... I mean, it's good for Rising Stars they got the pick, but it would have been much better to get that Aegis off of Burning, because now all DK has to do is set back and reload to do it again.
I think that they probably should have actually given the Aegis to Timbersaw instead of Viper, just because most of the time Timber is going to be the point of focus. He's always up in front. He is like the only melee hero that's actually going to be there because Abaddon's just sitting in the back, and Abaddon's going to be just primarily looking to babysit the Viper. Timber's just like kind of left on his own, and last time they pushed D2, they did the exact same thing. So you kind of have to prepare for how Rising Stars is going to take this team fight. They're just looking for people that are out of positions, that are just a little bit too far up, and they lassoed him. He was not able to pop cheese, and I won't say they like lost the fight there, but it could have been a lot better. And we may see another opportunity for Rising Stars, because DK may not be able to force an Aegis fight in the next 3 minutes time. They couldn't last time, so I don't know if they're going to be able to do so this time. And they had the big Aegis cheese advantage, but it's just not big enough apparently.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mushi likes his wards, likes him so much he wants to use twice as many. Picks up a Refresher's orb.
How is he that rich? Oh my goodness. I saw him have an Axe, but I didn't know he had a Refresher too.
Yep, sitting at number 4 actually in terms of net worth. He's worth almost as much as Burning is at this point. Mushi has just been really getting the job done. I'd love post-patch Shadow Shaman. Rasta is really just gives you so much, especially out of that mid position. Again, it's a return to when Rasta used to be a very high tier pick. If you were looking for a solid mid that would give you lockdown and a little bit of damage and push. DK, though, looks like they are ready to go. Now, this is where things get so chancy. Mushi with a full mana pool will certainly have mana to drop both sets of wards. If they can simply just find a nice way to crack this initial, the initial steps and get above them, he's going to be able to drop down 2 sets of those wards, and there's no way they're going to be able to kill them off fast enough to take them out of the fight entirely. That makes it so confusing and so difficult for them to hang around that area that they have to defend. The bear... Does he have a resummon on the bear? In 25 seconds he will. So now's the time to go. There's one set down, and down goes the next.
Oh, yeah, there it goes.
And Burning caught out. He will mech through it. King J pops the ulti. The ward's doing the job. We're going to see Burning brought back now. This is what DK wants. If he loses the Aegis, there we go. Finally it's popped, but the tower is already down. The racks are next. Chakram helps clean up King J, forcing the immediate buyback. Burning back up and fighting, and borrowed time keeps Lanham in fighting shape. The racks will drop. And yeah, this is kind of what we expected. That many wards, there's just no way they can fight near them, but they have to, otherwise they're going to lose every building in the vicinity. So they lose the tier 3, they lose the racks, cost them an Aegis, but that's a trade Burning and company are more than happy to take.
Burning's going to need a little bit more, Mushi's going to need a little bit more mana for level 3 Serpent Wards. Level 3 Serpent Wards takes 600 mana plus another 600 for cast number 2 plus 375. We're looking at 1575, and then if he wants to blink once, like he has the Arcane Boots. I think he just needs a little bit more mana so he can cast his other spells. They should farm for level 16 though, for sure. The Aegis is down. Looks like they're trying to make a counter push at mid without wards. This is a very smart move by Rising Stars.
And Sylar leading the way. Now, the bear is hitting very hard, hitting for 240-odd damage, 245-ish damage with that freshly completed MKB. Really, again, though, unable to get a lot of use out of it. There's a Sacred Arrow sent to Scout. Will actually catch him, MY. So a little inconvenient. They weren't going to contest this tier 2 anyway. Now, this is a clutch fight for Rising Stars. They have to get the job done here. 3,500 gold on the Timbersaw. 7 charges on his Bloodstone, the hero really becoming pivotal. We see just how important he is as a damage soak, if nothing else out of DK, to say nothing of what he can do in terms of damage output and bursting down some of these squishier heroes.
Ice actually going for Talisman of Evasion, so we see the second. Is this the second Heaven's Halberd up? Oh, yep. No, actually. Oh, wait, who has the other one?
What did you say? I thought you said, is this our Heaven's Halberd?
I thought it was the second Heaven's Halberd.
No.
I thought that Viper was building one with his Sage, but nope, you went S and Y. So now they kind of just have to chill for a little bit. Are they going to pass the cheese? Have they passed the cheese to anyone? Yep, they have passed it to Viper. He has a heart now, so 2,800 HP. That's a very respectable amount, especially with Potom hitting very wimpily. Let's look at Maelstrom. I mean, that's still pretty wimpy. 147 damage right now.
Yep, there's the second halberd. He actually did go ahead and decide to go in that direction. So he's got a halberd up, disassembling his S and Y, and now he can turn his Yasha into a Manta if he wants. That's a good
choice for him. He definitely should have done that. I still don't really like the S and Y build, but if you turn into a Heaven's Halberd and Manta now, that's a different story.
Here we go. Rising Stars ready to fight. They're sticking as 5, as is DK. We're at 43 minutes into this game. Take a look at the gold. We can see DK has resumed the lead, but really at this point, 6,000, 7,000 net worth advantage is not that big of a deal. The experience is completely negligible. So it's going to come down to execution in the biggest ways possible. Sylar, now being as big as he is, the game changer that is the Lone Druid, is going to begin to kick in a bit more. Radiance, Assault Cuirass, and an MKB. CTY looking for a target, took a look at Burning. They're going to go ahead and pop Mirana's ulti, and who's he going to go for? Oh, he's going to hex him out, and the wards go down. CTY will be blown up before he can do anything. Mushi ends up paying the price as well, but he got his wards down to begin with. Now the Bear trying to make a run for it. That BKB, freshly completed, will end up being popped, and XDD trying to escape as well. Ice still wandering around the fight. Lanham had his borrowed time already used, so he'll be next on the list. Buyback came out on the side of Rising Stars. They're trying to re-engage. QQQ ends up being picked off from a distance. Now King J, as well as XDD, caught with the Chakram. What did XDD get? He got Chakram. In the meantime, the Druid continues to go to town. MMY using his freezing field, but the flame break from CTY brings him down. Sylar will be able to make it away. There's a lasso finally off of CTY. They're going to pursue this out. Burning and Sylar, King J and Sylar continuing to try to run. Leap is up in 2 seconds. Can they do it? Viper actually manages to kill the bat in the meantime. Not even sure how that happened, but a big win again for DK. Rising Stars, even though they did end up trading, even if you look at the final result, it cost them buybacks. Mirana's down for 80 seconds, 60 seconds down on CTY as well, as they bought back and died.
Yeah, poor Mushi too. Mushi bought back and died. And did they end up killing the bear? I'm not exactly sure. Where is the bear right now?
Oh, there it is. Looks like, was it bottom? Nope. It's down for 60 seconds, it seems. I can't find it.
Yeah, I saw it like running down the river. I wasn't exactly sure if it had died though. Mushi was like shackling it, but he had like 100 HP and died while he was shackling. A little bit unfortunate for him. Burning just like a super tank right now though. He was almost out of mana that fight, surprisingly.
Roche back up in just about a minute and a half. And again, very important fight coming up. Ice comes out with a few extra bloodstones, and somebody needs to fix this glitch. I'm drawing circles around. I'm not sure if it's showing on everyone's screen. The glitched out Chakram. It just kind of stays permanently in one spot. You'll see it here in a minute.
I don't see that.
Right. And second.
Oh, is it only if someone gets vision?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh.
So we'll see.
That's happened to me before, too.
Yep.
It sometimes like lags too. It like goes a little bit further and like jumps back.
Yep.
It's a little bit strange skill. So with the new Roshan change, nobody knows when Roshan's gonna spawn, except sometime in the next 1.5 minutes, except for us lucky spectators.
Blink Dagger, the pick up on the Rubik, little initiation advantage. They keep checking in. They know it's coming soon. Only about a minute left, if even that, closer to 45 seconds most likely. And we're beginning to see what's winning and losing these fights is who gets the initiation advantage. Basically, is CTY able to get the target he wants first, or do they spot it with vision, and are they able to pick him off? Now, this is where buybacks are going to matter so very much. You take a look. The Bat no longer has a buyback for 3 minutes. Same with Mushi. And no buybacks on Lanham. None. Basically, the Crystal Maiden, finally the Mirana does have hers up. I actually thought King J bought back that last fight, and he didn't. But the Timbersaw has buybacks as well. So Roche coming up in just a few seconds. Hey, look, we didn't make it through a game without a Necro book. Praise be. Sing the hosannas, my friend. We get some Necro creeps.
Wow, I'm surprised he just didn't finish BKB. There's not, or get a Ghost Scepter. If he Ghost Scepters in front of Lone Druid, he can't just crush him. That's exactly what happened last time. Bear just turned around and destroyed MMY. They're really trying to kill this familiar though.
CTY, ooh. Gonna spawn on MMY and lasso him back. MMY cleaned up. Sacred Arrow with spin on it. They're not going to be able to engage off of that. Just way too far to go. The rest of DK has to exit. Flame Break checking out the pit to see if it's going to be clear or not. The Bear goes in and immediately goes to work. Chakram thrown out to try and take a look. The familiars are helping to zone out. Ice going to pop the Shivas. And here we go. There's the BKB up. Mushi drops one set of wards. He's going to end up dying before he can get off the second set, though. Land, I'm trying to hang around. Borrowed time procs. In the meantime, we see CTY getting away. QQQ dealing out some damage. Burning still up and fighting, at least for the moment. He's very near death. The familiars will get him with the help of King J. Buyback immediately out of Burning while the rest of Rising Stars has to retreat. They took a lot of damage. Didn't lose anyone throughout that fight, but did, again, take a lot of damage. So Roshan remains contestable. He's sitting at just about 5/6 health. DK waiting on the respawn of their two supports, and the Crystal Maiden and the Shadow Shaman. Again, important to note that second set of wards did not go off from Rasta. Don't know that it would have made all the difference, but it certainly made a difference.
He didn't have enough mana. He blinked and he hex, and then he used his ward, and then he refreshed and didn't have enough mana for the second one. He just needs a slightly larger mana pool, or just be really, really quick about his arcane usage. It's really hard to do. It's like blink, ward, arcane boots, refresh, arcane boots, ward. That's a really hard sequence of skills to pull off in like a second's worth of time. If Rising Stars takes out Roshi and wins one more fight, they win the game right now, though, just because nobody has buyback on Dire side except for Timbersaw, and it's going to be a while until anyone else has it up.
Here we go. CTY managed to find himself burning. Can they burst him down? Here comes the rest of DK, burning down the half L, telekinesed out. They're trying to focus him down. Wards go down again. Force snap, but the root is there. The Bear managed to get the root of the game, the one he needed the most. Bear will end up dropping to the wards, however, but the buyback on Ice might keep this fight open a little bit longer. Lanham's taking a lot of damage, has not procced Borrowed Time. We have seen him mostly using that ability on himself on either auto proc or just to keep himself alive. Burning is still down for 75 seconds, though. Very difficult, if not impossible, for them to challenge this. And we're going to see Mirana's ulti use Shiva's, helping to zone them out a little bit. Ice playing very chest out, going to try to Timbersaw across, but cut out in the middle, and who ended up getting it? Didn't even see who, but there's a freezing field. Yeah, no one got anything. Now the Aegis is gone. Finally, the Lone Druid picked it up, and it's popped off immediately, and there's a last on MMY. Lanham's still up and fighting, at least for the moment. XDD there with the telekinesis, and there's Borrowed Time to keep him alive a little bit longer. Ice still up and fighting. So they got the Aegis, but it was gone so fast that it may not have the impact they want. Lanham will end up dropping. They're going to have to push pretty quick. They still got...
They can't, though. Look at where the creep wave is.
Yep, can't do it. And Sylar without a bear. Sylar doesn't have a bear to push. This is a big-time reprieve for DK. If they lose a fight like this under just about any other circumstance, Rising Stars can push to win. However, it was bizarre. The Aegis was on the ground forever in that pit.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the big bear blocked it. You couldn't really see it. And you don't really want to take it on your Spirit Bear either. So DK catches a really big break right here, though.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, just think, they did that with Burning Down. There was no way. Like, basically, that sequence of events is one of only a handful that could have possibly allowed them to stay in. And Timber's had enough of not doing enough damage.
Dagon.
Yep, Dagon's fine. Don't worry about it. Well, don't worry about it.
Interesting. I'm surprised he doesn't go something like AC, perhaps. AC would be pretty good on him. They have a lot of physical damage. You can't really go. Your evasion doesn't really matter against MKB, and the minus armor synergizes okay with pretty well with the Shadow Shaman awards too. And they need more minus armor too. I think that Viper's getting it, but it's going to come out way too late. He doesn't have buyback. He needs to save up for it too. That's where Midas comes in handy.
Taking a look at the net worth following all these engagements, the Druid is ginormous, sitting at 3,200. Or 32,000, excuse me, net worth at this point. In comparison to the Timbersaw, which is his closest competitor at 20,000 net worth. So basically 33% ahead of his next biggest competitor. Now he's added a Basher to his inventory as well. One nice way to address.
What's he going to drop for it, though? Hand a Midas?
That's about time. He's had that Midas since about minute 8.5, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he might just switch it to a 0. Wow, DK's actually going for a push right now. That is just super, super manly. Like, this is so risky by them.
CTY in position, sitting atop the... I don't know what you'd call that. Here we go. Going to go in. Can they get it off? Their Shiva's off. No, he force-staffed and missed it. He missed it. Are they going to re-engage? They're going to get the bear. The bear pops the BKB. The Lincolns is on him. Can they catch up? The Familiars are there trying to stun them out. A total flub and missed opportunity from Rising Stars that time. Had a chance to get a pick and put DK back on the defensive. Twice in a row now, DK has managed to walk between the raindrops, and they're not about to abandon this push. They're running down top lane.
Wow, that's the lasso nerf right there, I suppose.
Yep. It seemed like he was in rage, man. I don't think that was the distance. He was close enough. You would have thought. There's the first set of wards, and they managed to blow up the Rubik immediately, forcing the buyback. Now Sylar caught with the Chakram. 2 sets of wards are down. Tier 3 is going to drop Ice. The lasso is disjointed, so Ice is still up. He did get bashed by the bear. Now Flame broken down to the low ground. Telekinesis, is it enough? No. Chakram helping to zone this out. Burning's eating a lot of damage. They're going after the racks. It looks like they're going after the ranged racks first. The melee rack stays standing. And DK Still sitting at the bottom. They haven't abandoned it yet. Here comes Mushi, blinking in, burning, selling out on it. Here comes the Sacred Arrow that will just hit a creep. No, actually, that got burning. He's still stunned out, but the damage being done by Ice is through the roof. DK, now the freezing field. MMY manages a full channel. Look at how low the health is. This is going to be their second set of racks. If they can finish it off, it's about half health. The rest of DK sent scurrying away. CTY wants a target. Will he find one? No. Frostbitten down by MMY. The bear is right on their tail. The Radiance Burn doing the damage. Force Staff across the chasm. There's a Hex on the CTY. A Chicken doing the chicken walk in the air. And DK, unfortunately, unable to get the melee racks, but get a lot of work done. Lanham might still yet end up dead, and probably will now, as Frostbite was stolen by Rubik. Borrowed Time lives up to its namesake, does buy him a little bit of time, only delaying the inevitable. And they managed to track him down. They will get a gem out of that, if nothing else. But now with once...
Oh, CTY, what are you doing?
Getting caught out, apparently. Got ahead of the rest of his team, got a little bit too aggressive. MMY, in the meantime, did pick up a Necro Book 3. So Rising Stars loses their Tier 3 top and their ranged racks. The melee racks still stand, but at this point, getting across the enemy side to the enemy side of the river is going to be a very tall order indeed.
I don't actually know why Mushi places his wards so far back. Like, most of the time you want to place your wards like right here so that once it kills a tower, you kill the other two, and it's a little bit better at zoning out your opponents. But in the meantime, they actually take out the range racks in the middle, just the creeps just beating it down. So even if they suffered heavy casualties, they got what they came for. They inflicted a lot of damage on their own. Refresher is up in just 30 seconds time, so it looks like they are looking to end the game and end the game quickly. I think that Sylar should probably just kill all the wards at the start. Those wards just lasted so long, and yeah, it's going to take them a while, but those wards are like the very high significant source of damage from DK. I'm curious to check the console at the end of the game just to see exactly how much damage it did.
I'll tell you what's becoming the biggest problem, I think, is everyone on DK so damn tanky now. Between Ice, obviously burning. They built tanky. Even MMY, though, sitting at 1,500 HP on a Crystal Maiden. But more importantly, Lanham being able to use a Photic Shield and borrow time to keep not just himself alive, but everyone else. He gets these wards down, and when he does, you can't kill DK fast enough to keep your buildings up. Look at the Tier 3.
Now they killed all the wards there. They killed almost one full set of wards.
But they already lost the Tier 3, though. They can fall back, and they just don't have the damage. There's Dagon used. Now we're going to have the BKB up on the bear. They're going to rush in, try to get the damage done. Burning's locked in. Down goes the range racks. The melee racks. Range rack still standing. There's going to be CTY trying to get a lasso off. That's probably going to be it. They just don't have the damage. Way too tanky. They're playing this fight out well. They just can't melt him down fast enough. Even Lanham getting close to dying. The borrowed time procs, and now Sylar freezing field once again from MMY. That'll be a very close to full channel. Sylar's gone. Mushi will end up dying, but Lanham's still up and fighting. He's actually doing decent damage at this stage. Here comes Ice back in again off the buyback. GG called.
That was crazy.
56 minutes in a nuts game. Look at how up and down this game was at all stages. Rising Stars, again, even at the end, built a 10,000 gold lead over DK. And what it all comes down to, my friend, that Roche fight. When DK was dead to rights, a bizarre sequence of events, the Aegis hidden amongst all the clutter and confusion. The fact that the Lone Druid took it, died immediately, and then, with no bear to summon, and their creep so far back following it, no option to push even though they took that fight, all the room DK needed to turn this fight around, or to turn this game around, and seal it 2-0. One of the crazier games we've had so far in the Eastern Division.
Yeah, I mean, the XP graphs are probably in favor of Rising Stars too. They just had so much gold. Sylar was huge with the BKB on his head.
Yeah.
Maybe at one point you switched it to your hero, but Mushi, I mean, he was level 19, which is pretty underleveled. 6 and 7, 6, 7, 16, not as good a score as his counterpart, still mid, but he did what it takes to win the game. He just popped his wards on the tower and just try and prevent them from killing them, and just try and kill the bear too. So he definitely did his job, and they know how to win. I was surprised that they had that much gumption to push a top lane, but they just plopped the wards down, and really, Rising Stars, they tried their best at the very bottom fight to kill the wards as soon as possible, but the damage output from them was way too strong. Viper was way too annoying too, and I mean, Ice played fantastic. The only level 25 hero on the side of the Dire. I think he's MVP for this game. Sylar probably too. Even though they lost, you can still call him MVP.
Yep.
That's ridiculous how well he played.
Rising Stars showing once and for all. I mean, not that they even have to show it. When you watch Rising Stars, you can see so much potential in this team. And I hope this is a game that they take something away from. I mean, they pushed DK to the absolute limit. And except for a bizarre set of circumstances in a Roche fight, they really would have won this game. So definitely a team that I think will live up to their name. I think they're going to get better. They have so much talent at every position. And they definitely proved it, even though DK does walk away 2-0 victors here in our final best of 3 of the evening. 56 minutes, 17 seconds, a long game, one of the longest we've had so far in the Eastern Division. 34-28, the final kill score. I'm your host, Aaron A.C. Chambers, getting ready to sign off. That was our third and last best of 3 of the night. We will be back tomorrow, though, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 3 a.m. if you happen to be our European brothers and sisters. And out in China, it'll be right around 9 in the morning. So make sure you tune in to catch our 3 series coming up tomorrow. As we look to round out this week, our third week of play here in the Eastern Division. Now, by the time all said and done tomorrow, the division really will have taken shape. We're going to have an idea mathematically of where these teams stand and what they have to do if they want to have a chance to play their way either into that top slot and directly qualify to the grand finals in Las Vegas, or at least make it into the bubble race playoffs we have coming up in December. Before we say our final goodbyes, Merlini, any final thoughts? And of course, would love to hear you plug yourself, but give me a summation here. Let's make it like a high school essay. Give me your closing paragraph. Make your arguments and tell me what you thought of the games today and the mini Midas strat, defense of the Midas that we happened to witness through most of the night.
Midas wins and Midas loses. That's about it. They win some games, they lose some games.
Midas giveth and Midas taketh away. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's a much more elegant way to put it. But thanks for casting ASC. It was a pleasure as usual. 6.79 has brought about some crazy changes, and I'm excited to be here at the start of everything when everything is just most hectic, most crazy, and that was definitely one topsy-turvy, upside-down kind of game. The kind of game that I like to see, though. It's pretty exciting. So if you like ASC and I, you can follow me on Twitter at Merlini Dota, as well as Facebook and YouTube, all the same /Merlini Dota, as well as Twitch.tv, where I stream fairly often. And you yourself, ASC?
Very simple. You can look me up just about anywhere. It's at EC on Twitter at AYESEE. Then it's ACTV across the board. Elsewhere, it's twitch.tv/ACTV. You can also look up ACTV on YouTube, Facebook, and elsewhere. Merlini, my friend, always a pleasure and so happy to be spending D2L Season 4 casting next to you and really enjoying it, man. Thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast. Looking forward to tomorrow.
And we'll be here, 6 p.m. Pacific time.
You got it, brother. All right, that was once again Merlini Dota. Check him out across the web on various social networks. And, of course, check out all of his content. Especially if you're a player in that intermediate skill level, a newer player trying to get really to cut your teeth into the deep mechanics of the game. Merlini, one of the best educational streamers you're ever going to run across. And, again, merlinidota.com, his website. And you can catch him everywhere else. And once again, find me on the web as well. Just look up AC. Find me on Twitter and Twitch at AC, at AYESE, and twitch.tv/ACTV. This has been a D2L production in conjunction with, of course, our lead sponsor, Kingston HyperX. Much love to them. Taking the lead on this fantastic Season 4, shaping up to be a doozy already, even though we're only about halfway through our Eastern Division play. Of course, Razor, Monster Energy, Astro, and am I leaving anyone out? Razor, Monster Energy, Astro? Did I get them all, Conrad? I think I did. You'd think I would know this, by the way. It's not like I haven't been doing this for a while. That's okay, because it's about 2, 3 in the morning my time. I'm going to blame that, even though. Yeah, I got Razor. No, last time, the big Razor mouse pad, the one I can't think of even though. Exactly. All right, guys, thank you again so very much on behalf of myself, on behalf of Conrad, of course, the guy pushing the buttons. He's waving at you. He's sending you all of his love. In fact, he's taking his shirt off. He's so excited. Gianni, of course, our admin in the background. Dimitri, there we go, holding things down. And, of course, Colin and all of the rest of the support staff. Thank you so much for joining us for the broadcast. Again, we're back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And in the meantime, make sure you check out D2L.gg. Catch all your VODs, find stats, find write-ups, find all the things you need for the D2L. Again, I'm Aaron A.C. Chambers. See you tomorrow night. Take it easy.